if you guys want to shout out anything, feel free to, because I'm going to put it at the beginning of the video.
We have any plugs?
Do we have any plugs? Do you want to plug anything, Jabir?
Make sure you go watch Alvin the Chipmunk, the cartoon. Great series.
Okay.
The Squeakquel.
The Squeakquel.
Oh, the Squeakquel. Oh,
and Chipwrecked as well. You may or may not be witnessing some slop there.
Listen to this track, bitch.
But those skinny ass bitches can suck like it's their fucking like last meal.
All right, everything's set up now. Everything's good now, so we can begin. All right, because this is something I'm very passionate about, and I have a lot to say about it. All right.
Oh, of course.
So the question that is on all our minds is, out of the three, Alvin and the Chipmunks, which one was getting the best head? All right. And there's a lot to say about this, and there's a lot to go into. So there's a lot of like really well published theories on this, which one was getting the best head. There's arguments for each of them. All right. So obviously the most expressive out of the three is obviously Alvin on the left. You can see a lot of movement. He's kind of hitting the jump man, and it's like it is what it is. Meanwhile, you have Theodore, who's completely paralyzed. That's the argument for him. The fact that there is a lack of expression. And then, of course, you have the man on the right, who is obviously all he's all screwed up. All right, his feet are in the air. You understand how difficult physically it is to hold your legs up in that position? Like, he's probably getting his fucking ass ate, if we're being honest here. But that's more like the position that we're talking about. But yeah, I think that's really the main point that we have to think about are those three, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, those are the only
that
ones we can see on the screen. So we have to assume that these are the only three that we're discussing.
That we're discussing, yes. Now, I'm going to begin with what I have to say about this. My opening statement, my opening beliefs on this. Because I've thought about it for the many years this picture has been floating around, all right, without answers. So, I'm going to go out and say it, man. I believe that Alvin is getting the best head out of the three. And
that's the safe pick, definitely.
I mean, it's not just the safe pick. It's because it's a safe pick, it's actually by far the most uncommon pick out of the three. Yes, it is. I mean, think about any time you've seen this, when people are actually breaking it down and trying to give their own theories on this. It's usually not Alvin that they're saying. The consensus, like, historically, is that Alvin is, exaggerating. That he's merely, like, going off and doing his own thing when it comes to that. But here's my argument against that. All right? Alvin is by far the most popular of the three. He is by far the most socially capable. He is by far the most outgoing. And then, of course, the Chip...
He's the face of the Chipmunks.
Yes, he is. And the Chipette that is currently giving him head is his counterpart on that side. So these are two very sexually experienced chipmunks right here, is what I'm essentially telling you. And if you're at that point, and you're at that point of comfort with your own sexual endeavors, you have no need to be exaggerating. All right? You have no need to be untrue to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And yet, here he is. This man is in pieces over here, all right? And let me tell you something, all right? You could see that in the middle, Theodore is absolutely paralyzed. On the right, you have Simon, whose legs are up in the air. But Alvin is the only one whose legs are literally they're going inward, if you look closely. for that foot action, you have a lot of involuntary shit going on, all right? And that's where my argument stems from, is the fact that there's a lot that is going on right there that he cannot control. And this is coming from a very experienced both giver and receiver of this act, all right? Neither of them are new to this. Not the same can be said for the other two groups. Thus concludes
Those
my
are all
arguments.
good points. Those are all very good points that you just made.
Thank you.
I will say I'd like to hear what Jabir has to say on this, but I agree with you that Alvin is absolutely in the top two. To me, it's got to be between him or Simon. I just, when I look at this, I think Theodore is just out of the question. He's not getting the sloppy toppy that the other two are receiving on the same kind of level.
I don't think you
not
can so
happening.
easily discount Theodore though. But I think we should all get the floor, you know. So
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
go ahead.
Well, all of your points about Alvin are absolutely correct, but I think Simon, is right up there with him. Eyes closed, feet in the air, as you said, before. And out of all of them, it would seem to be that well, I suppose Alvin is letting out a very visceral moan as well, but it looks like Simon is right there with him. You know, I would like to point out something that I've seen this picture many times now.
Right.
This was the first time, actually, believe it or not, that I realized the secretion that was
Yes.
in between the
It is
legs.
actually same here. It is the same for me. I've never noticed that. Although I guess I haven't analyzed this in the same way. So there's that.
Now, I would like to know, is this like a post male nut inside them that's spilling out, or is this
I would
their
doubt
own?
that. I would seriously doubt that, because panties are still on, clothes are still on. All right, you
Right,
don't have
right.
that happen, then put clothes on and then go right back to it. All right.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm agreeing with you here. And it seems to me that of the three, Alvin's female is the least wet of the three.
I
From what I can see.
I've got to say that I agree.
Jesus, I never noticed that.
So if,
But she's not new to
therefore,
this.
if she is the least wet, is she really going in?
Oh wow. See, you got a good point there.
Hmm.
You got a good point. So does that conclude your arguments for the Simon?
That's yeah. Well, I'm still able to hear everything. I'm probably leaning towards Simon more than the other two at the moment, but I could go any way here.
Okay. All right. So what are you thinking, Jabir?
All right. Well, first of all, let me know if my shit cuts out at any point, because I have like the absolute worst ping right now. But
Yeah, I tried to turn down the bit rate to a certain like kind of low amount so we don't get interrupted too much. But yeah, go on.
All right, sounds good. All right, so when I'm looking at this, I think the most interesting point that's been made, well, the two most interesting is definitely the secretion, as Britton put it. So I'm looking at this picture, and like it's almost inhuman how much they're putting out right now, right? Like
It's possible. It's
I mean, yeah,
possible.
it's definitely possible. I'm just like thinking like it's so it the D being given must be so powerful. The guac as they say, the swat that I don't know. They must be just Casanovas. What else can I say? but the other interesting point to me was that uh, Simon, generally like the most disrespected Simon, he he's putting in work over there. Him and his girl, which I forgot her name,
Yeah,
they're
nobody
putting
knows
in
their
work.
names. I really don't know. I mean, can you blame me? Does anybody like really?
Yeah, he really
Aren't they?
don't know.
Aren't they all like plays on the other one's name, like
You would
Alvinetta or like
you would
something
think
like that?
so, but I don't see how it could be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what would the blue one's
I
name
mean,
be? Like Simonella? Like that doesn't even make sense.
Salmonella.
I was gonna say that.
Moving on, moving on.
All right. So going to the ass eating point. Um, Now I've never gotten my ass eaten. I can attest to that right here in the Bible. But I
Right.
have had thick discussions with a chick who generally enjoys doing that while giving someone head.
Ah.
And I mean, hey, I don't know what lifestyle they're living. This girl's from Tuscaloosa, so I don't know what they're
Oh,
doing
that
over
makes
there.
sense.
But yeah, they're inbred a little bit. Maybe they have different preferences.
I
But
know. I know.
so I think what's important to think in that is that that's cheating, in my opinion. I don't know the anatomy of your boy hole, but from what I understand, it's supposed to maximize a sensation of whatever is happening. So I don't think that's fair talk. I'm that's my
You're saying
that's my
that
first.
Simon is disqualified.
Wow. That is an
Wow.
interesting argument.
Wow.
Wow.
I don't think he's getting even sensation, even Stevens. I just don't think it's happening.
Well,
I
I think you could say that the fact that she's able to, you know, give stimulation to both regions at the same time, I think you gotta give credit where credit is due there.
Wait a
You
second.
know, if
We actually just got some we got fact checkers coming in.
okay.
So the names of the three females from left to right, I believe, is Brittany, Jeanette, and Eleanor.
Mm.
That
Eleanor.
I guess I'll type that in here, but
Yeah, I'd
um,
like to see these spelled out.
I get the Eleanor one. I'm assuming she's the green one. I think I can figure that one out.
I think it's left to right, dude. I don't know why else Ben would have wrote it like that. I believe that the bookish one would be named Eleanor, though, and the kind of dumb fat one would be called Jeanette. I mean, that would just make sense.
That would make
And
sense.
the bopper would be Brittany. I mean, it's pretty clear cut all around.
I think if you factored names into it, like Brittany, to me would
Wait,
be like,
no, that is not their names left to right. We're getting more. This is a developing situation. But anyways, I will correct it. I'm sorry for interrupting.
well, that brings up another argument. There is that like the names like Brittany, that sounds like the best head to me. I mean, personally, I think that's the
Yes.
most ideal head.
Well,
Eleanor is a whack. Okay, this doesn't really classify into the argument in general, but you would think that the short, thick type is going to give you some crazy top,
I'll tell you
and
something right
Eleanor.
now. I'm gonna stop. Well, I guess you are still in your original speech, aren't you? So I mean, I don't really want to interrupt too much.
All right, well let me throw a conclusion now, and then we can switch it up.
Okay.
I believe based on what's just been presented and what else I'm seeing, if we were saying that giving the boy hole pleasuring is qualified, is able, I'm believing that Jeanette is giving the best head. However, if we're just going off of pure penile pleasure, I believe that I gotta go with Alvin. I mean, let me tell you something just from my few experiences. The reaching back and like having to grab onto an object, that's that's up there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so I feel like I don't know how to proceed as far as the Simon situation that we have on our hands.
Well, let's talk through
Because
it.
this speech that you've just given has brought to light a new fact that has been previously unknown to the entire the chipologist situation, right? And I gotta say, why did Thomas just say, "Is it Theodore?" Get out of here. Anyways, let's think about it, guys. I have to say that as I guess the lead on this one, that when getting your ass ate is not an independent act usually. I would say that. Am I correct? It doesn't really go on its own. It's usually coming from something else, which is usually regular head, And yeah, so I mean, I have to say that while the other two could also be getting their asses eaten, it is just not currently pictured.
It's hard to see how it could. I suppose with a long enough tongue, it could be reached. But the only one that is that the picture is kind of insinuating that this is going on with is Simon.
Yes. I'm just saying that this is a snapshot in time. You know what I'm saying? We are we're probably about 2/3 through this slop session that's going on right here. And it is possible that ass eating was taking a part in the other two. All right. Jabir just dropped.
Oh no. Oh, there he is. There he is.
All right. Great. Glad you're back. But anyways, yes. So the main takeaway, I believe, is that this we gotta have to interpret with the evidence that we have. Maybe Jeanette is just that much of a freak, and the other two just aren't, and she's willing to go that extra mile.
Yeah.
She's willing to go the extra mile, and because of that, she wins points. Now,
well, I will say that the only Jeanette that I know is Jeanette McCurdy from the television series iCarly.
She seems like she would I don't know. Well, go on.
I've seen the pictures that she sent to Andre Drummond, and it seems to me that people named Jeanette just are freaks. It's just inherent in their nature.
She throated Andre. Now keep in mind, Andre Drummond could not be slanging and swinging, but by the
we have to assume he is, though. We have to assume.
Yeah, I mean, like you the least suspect an Arizona T-Can situation in his own life.
Right.
So, I mean, she attacked that. She's like 4'11". She's like 5'2", something like that. I mean, they're go-getters.
Right.
Okay. This is true, all right? Jeanette, in this situation, we could assume easily that she's a freak. We can assume that. But what you also forget, and is so easy to forget, is the fact that Simon is on the other side here. We're talking about the male counterpart. I believe that Simon, this might be the first time that he has ever had any kind of sexual experience. And going on beyond that, Simon be jacking off a lot. He's on the internet. He's a nerd, he jacks off to all kinds of crazy shit, because, that's just what you do when all you do is jack off. And I don't think he's getting as much out of it as the other two. I'll put that right out of there.
So
I think that's also
I think this motherfucker might have beat some skin off his dick. And
I think you could make a case for either way there. I think the fact that he may never have received head before may make this, just a different kind of special for him, especially if the first time he's ever receiving head, he's getting ass stimulation at the same time.
Right.
It could go either way there. I feel like.
Right.
I think you can separate it to two things. So one side, the women, who's delivering the best head?
I gotta say, we've decided to include the rimming into it, but despite that, I know y'all know about the type of head that you experience coming from females that are built like the one in the middle. And I feel like that needs to have a larger weight thrown around in this situation.
That's what I said. I mean, the short built chicks, they're the tanks. The tanks are something else.
Yes.
I will say, yeah, I skipped over Theodore a little bit earlier, but I will say, upon thinking about it a little more, the fact that he's been literally put into a state of actual paralysis. The man has gone limp. He's not moving at all.
His legs are slack. He is literally
are completely slack right now. His
arms
are by
slack.
his side.
He is literally looking like you're at a viewing at a funeral or something. Like
the only indication that this man is even still alive is that his mouth is agape.
Yes, I agree. Yes.
That's like that post Kelvin Evans edible you take. After taking a couple of those, you get the Theodore face.
Yes.
You start seeing yourself across the room, and you don't know how you got there.
That is precisely what I'm talking about. And moving on from that, I have to say that I don't know. I mean, I'd say that we are all encouraged to share anecdotes that may help with a conclusion. And in my personal experience, the best head I've ever received was by, a somewhat thick woman, and this person had literally no experience. None. We're talking like just due to the build, this person was built to deliver some A1 sloppy top, all right? And that's just that. All right, but that's not to influence anything, because I mean, you guys remember who I'm going for. I'm just saying that Theodore needs to be also, seriously considered, because these are all strong options. This is like all these. It's like a fighting game where all the characters are overpowered. Like we have and there's a balance between them, but we're gonna find the correct answer here. So.
All right, so can I start with the anecdote part, I guess? Or I guess you already did, but can I
go up? Feel free to give an anecdote on any of these three subtypes of female.
All right, so it's not necessarily the female, but it is something you said as far as beating your shit and then getting hit. So it was a day before work, and I've set up this top for about a couple of days now, and unfortunately, I decided to just beat the shit out of my dick like the day before, like 2 times, something like that. And it's early in the day, so I didn't hit 100% yet. I haven't really recovered.
Right.
It's like 11 a.m., something like that.
Right.
So I go over to Orange Beach, scoop the woman, and we're in a car. So it also kind of adds to the not enjoyable factor. Let me tell you, I'm not tall, but the back seat isn't an ideal way to get your legs going.
That's agreed.
Legs are part of the receiving. You got to get good leg motion. That's why it's cool to see Simon eating out here. He got a lot of leg motion out there.
Yeah.
You can tell he's having a fun time. All right, so I'm in the car, and this woman is going down no problem. Like I'm talking tip to base, like a maestro. Like,
right.
If you have a conductor given his ideal form of top in music, she would be the fucking, I don't know, Mozart of that shit. So at a certain point, like I'm close to. She's giving me everything. She's giving me like the fucking tongue wrap around the tip, the fucking.
Like her life depends on it,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, I mean she's giving a fucking full 4-quarter performance. I mean she's not stopping until the fucking whistle is blown.
Right.
So I'm like 80% there to bust it. And it's just like the porn fucking destimulation or whatever.
Right.
Just fucking kills my brain. I don't nut at that moment, and that just makes me think, based on what you said, Simon is probably getting fire top. Like,
Yes.
probably the best top, because if he is put in that state, that fucking that rejuvenation that he's going through right now,
Yes.
it means that she has basically triumphed over the fucking the porn dead brain that it gives you.
She has climbed the mountain, is what you're saying. She has
exactly.
overcome. That's hard.
So that's just my anecdote. I think that she's at least putting in the most work.
I get, but that
Can be made.
I see exactly what you're saying, and that's hard to top, honestly. That is hard to beat.
No
But
pun intended.
yes, pun intended, honestly. But
Pun intended.
so what we got going here is I feel like we need this is a time we can take to step aside for a moment and really figure out what the question means. All right, I think that's necessary at this point, right? So who's getting the best head? All right, who getting the best head? I think that to receive the best head, it's how much stimulus you personally are receiving, right? It doesn't matter how well she's doing. Not necessarily. I think that most of what we can go off of has to relate to their reactions, really, and what we know about them, and how much this situation might deliver to them as far as like bestness of head. So that's why I have trouble fully committing to the idea that Simon's like receiving the best here, you know?
Right.
Because I think Simon might be playing this situation up. I think Simon's not sure if this is the last time he'll get head in his life. That his dick will remain dry from this day forward.
That's interesting. So you think maybe Simon is putting on a performance, like this could be the last time that he ever receives head. So he's trying to make the girl feel as good as possible, so she will want to continue to give him head.
I believe that may have a significant part in this.
Wow, that's an interesting theory there.
'Cause
that's one that I never even considered, honestly.
yeah, I felt like I kind of felt it from deep within from early on in seeing this image, but it hadn't came to the surface until our arguments up to now. And I guess I could take that analysis to the other two, because like why not? I feel like Theodore, he of course is at a state of paralysis. All right, we covered this.
We don't know what's going on inside his brain right now. We have no clue.
But there's a lot of question here. There's a lot to think about here, because like, look at that expression, and I know you don't want it to be true, because it would be unfair to the argument overall. But is it possible that Theodore is falling asleep?
Oh man.
Is it possible? Yeah, I mean, I've had some real cozy head before. I'm not gonna lie. That made me want to go to sleep. But Firehead doesn't make you want to go to sleep. Firehead has you gripping something behind you.
Hey,
Is that not true?
Wow.
I'm with that
Wow.
argument so far.
Yeah, I will just I'd like to tack on to Theodore. I think it's common, more common. I could be wrong on this, so someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's more common for people of a larger size to have the affliction known as narcolepsy, which means basically just being able to fall asleep wherever the hell you want. And so the fact that Theodore is obviously the biggest of the three, I mean, that's well known, that's well
He's a
documented.
fat fuck. Look at his
Yes.
fucking gut in that picture.
Yes.
I think it's reasonable to assume that he is. That he might even be in REM right now.
All right, that is a fair point. He could be dreaming dreams right now. He might wake up from a dream where he's like, at a urinal or something, and then he might be peeing. That could happen. I've heard of it happening a lot. When the wife wakes somebody up with some head, and then goes straight to piss. But that's besides the point. Anyways, I do find you to have a very compelling argument there. I think that the narcolepsy might be a little bit of a sidetrack, but overall, I feel like you have a very solid point there, though. Like, I don't think that, cause I don't know if narcolepsy for Theodore is canon. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're trying to use canon universe ideas, mainly.
Right.
But I don't know, man. My arguments for the time being are directed for Alvin. All right, that was the point of that whole thing I just said.
Yeah. I think we have to, when we look at Alvin, you hit the nail right on the head. We have to go back to the fact that he is gripping the couch behind him.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a grasp that one is only seen, and perhaps the only other time would be in like Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone on a rocky mountaintop where it's just him up there, and if he can't
Yeah, he's hanging for his life. All right.
he's
That's the
hanging
main
for his
point.
life is essentially what I'm trying to say.
You can zoom in and see the lines created by his grabbing. He
Yes.
literally is grabbing.
Those are visible. Those are visible in the picture.
Because this definitely looks like a plastic couch or something. They put the plastic sheet over this thing because they knew there'd be a lot of ass sweat, a lot of juices on this couch. So they probably protected it well, all right? This is an organized event. But to create a crease in a couch that has that covering, that means a lot too.
This motherfucker's probably biting in his fucking fingernails from how far he's grabbing this damn couch.
Absolutely. The only argument that I think could be even stronger is if he lost the hat, but he didn't lose the hat yet.
It does seem to be, it does seem to be there's something off with it. It looks like a bonnet, almost at this point.
Yeah, he definitely did the old, flick the brim up in amazement at some point. He definitely did that.
It's unknown though whether the orientation of the hat was done during the act or if it is completely unrelated.
That is true. You don't know.
I think it's also fair to bring up. I mean, it's to an older point about the women. Brittany is a skinny ass bitch, and the thing about those skinny ass chicks, man, they, that bulimia. I'm not trying to break the canon or bring in extra things that aren't in the main universe, but those skinny ass bitches can suck like it's their fucking last meal. And
I agree.
Fucking, bulimic at this point. That's a snack to her. That dick is a snack for her.
Yes.
This could be the only nutrients that she's had all day.
Yes, I mean
You
it
know?
is a common meme in the Twitter community, but people, they might be amazed. Well, not in the modern day. I wouldn't be amazed in the modern day, but perhaps at another time they'd be surprised about, the act of swallowing. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of these women, they don't have any food at home, So I mean, like, that's a part of it. You haven't taken them to McDonald's yet, and they need something to start their night with. But I feel like that's a pretty solid point. That's a pretty solid point.
I would like to add on one thing that this is another thing that I've only just noticed for the first time. So if you'll, bring your attention to the right side of the screen, you'll see that Simon's girl is, she's got two hands into the action.
Wow.
Theodore's girl, same thing, two hands. Simon's girl, on the other hand, only one hand is present in the act. The other hand is at her side.
Correct.
She doesn't need it.
I mean, I just wanted to point it out. I'm not making any insinuations one way or the other there, but I think it was a point that needed to be said.
I
Let me
think
just say,
I
just
think
for the road,
okay.
this picture is like fucking like pointillism. I mean, there's so many like fine details that you just don't know, or you don't notice off of one look.
It's like a Renaissance painting. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of like qualities to it that are absolutely just minute. Like, I actually have another point to make, and we can return back to the hands and arms and where they play here in a minute. But actually, that just gave me another idea. All right, I got a little bit to say then. So I feel like one thing that we must notice here is this is actually points for Theodore, I believe, is the fact that we also have to say who is able to go the longest without interruptions. And I'll tell you what that interruption could be. And that's the hair. Because if y'all are some head-getting motherfuckers, as I am, you know that some dumb bitches, they don't put the hair up. They don't put it up correctly. And then that's a problem. And as you can see on the left, Simon's girl, yes, it has been put in the classic ponytail for head giving, but at the same time, you see a lot of mist around the sides. That's a problem, just because she wants the bangs out. On the right side, we have Theodore's girl, who put a lot of effort into having a solid bun going, but still failed to capture all the hair. And then lastly, we have Theodore's girl. It's all out of the way. No muss, no fuss, Which makes me believe that she has been able to just keep going at it. You know what I'm saying? Just keep going at it. Like,
right.
There has been no interruptions. That's why he's in the Shadow Realm.
Wow.
And that is what it is. But I also have one more point to give here, all right? So, about the hands, all right? We can discuss the hands of the females, right? But we haven't discussed the hands of the males yet, except in the case of Theodore. Theodore's hands are at his sides. He's helpless to this act that's being done to him. But that is the least points are given for that. The least points are given to that, even though it does mean something. Because look, on the right hand, Simon is literally trying to get this bitch off of him. He is literally like, this hoe is gonna kill me, man. She's about to take me out. But then on the left, you have Simon. We already talked about the one hand, but let's talk about the other hand. That hand is also in the act of pushing away. Unless he's, doing the, the pro move of hand on head, but I mean, like, that's some advanced stuff, and it's only for true freaks. So I mean, like,
right.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of points that have been made that I just made, but I think that the most important thing to say here is the fact that it's still very contested. It's still very contested.
Yeah.
There's just a lot going for each of these candidates.
Yeah. Well, I will say so. Like you said, Theodore's got his arms at his side. Simon is, seems to be actively almost pushing her
Yes.
away. At this point, I think Alvin is very interesting because though, he has the one hand that is down there, trying his
To control the
damnedest
situation.
to control the situation. His other hand is saying, "Oh, I'm here.
Yeah.
This is where I want to be, is on this couch, and
Right.
that's why he's gripping so hard."
To me, it seems like Alvin is like in just a slow drive, going steady down the highway, and you got your boy Simon. He's like in a fucking muscle car, just going at 250 down the interstate. No one's fucking with him. He's ready to bust any minute.
Yes.
I think there's something to be said for Jeanette, because I mean not Jeanette, Brittany, because Brittany, we know that Alvin's at least the most experienced, and even then, this shit that he's getting right now is so engaging that he's just in it for the long haul. I mean, they could be there for 20, 30 minutes, and he'd be like, "All right, fuck it, let's ride out,"
Yeah. Those are all extremely good points. I'm not quite sure where to proceed, honestly.
Well,
I think
I think at this point I think we may have to look at making an elimination.
I was
if we're
thinking the
trying to come
same
to a
thing.
consensus.
I was just about to say the same exact thing. That's the only way we can make progress on this. Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you guys to pick who you think should be eliminated from contention. We can think about it for a minute, because I'm not completely sure myself.
Yeah, this is very tough. Oh,
I think for me, it's just like I keep on factoring how much work the female is putting in. Maybe that's the empathetic part of me.
Right.
But
Right.
it's hard for me to. I would if it was like everything equal between a woman, I would get Simon out of here. But Jeanette, I believe it is. Jeanette is putting in just so much fucking elbow grease right now that I gotta at least give her some points. I give the whole matchup there, the duo between those two, some points just because of that.
Right.
yeah. I think this is very tough to say, but I think if I were going to eliminate one, I think I'm still where I started. I think Alvin and Simon are getting the best head, and I think Theodore is, though he is as you said, in the shadow realm, I think he's just a hair below the other two.
What is your take, Jabir?
All right, so it's I guess kind of similar in that I think that at least based on the experience, so we're going from the male's perspective, obviously, because why would you look at the females and join the from the male's perspective, and that's all that I'm thinking about here. I'm eliminating who I'm about to eliminate. I believe that Alvin is getting your ideal head. He's getting what you want when you drive, 10 to 15 minutes to a girl's crib. You pull up, you want a little bit of longevity there. You don't want to just get in, get out, and get the bitch out of there. So I'm like, I prefer Alvin. That's a personal preference. And then when I look at, maybe your first time getting head, everybody remembers that. Simon, he's living an American dream right there, honestly. So it's tough to go with Theodore. Maybe if I believed that Theodore is just such a fucking veteran that this shit putting him to head and putting him to sleep means that she's unmatched. She's his first challenger. and he's been conquered. But I personally don't believe that Theodore's out here like that, and I just believe that maybe he had one too many fucking apple turnovers, and his fat ass just went to sleep. I gotta get Theodore out of there.
So we have 2 for
It looks
Theodore.
like
We have
it
2.
looks like he's just. What's that?
We have 2 for Theodore then.
Yeah, I was gonna say it looks like he really has just finished a Thanksgiving meal, and now he's in the afternoon nap stage of the
Right.
day.
All right, so I have a short sidebar right here. There's a guy in the chat that asked, "Wait, hold up. They gonna spit or swallow after they're done?" And I don't think there's any question. All right, I'm gonna be real with y'all. It is the year 2020. All right. There is nobody who doesn't swallow practically. I've never had it happen where they don't. Never.
She'd have to fucking hate your guts if she spit. She'd have to
Yes.
fucking.
Absolutely. So I think that while that is a very good question, I think that the answer is clear, especially with the quality of head that we're witnessing here. Because let's just say that, all right? If I am one of these 3, whatever one that I am a happy boy, all right? I am very pleased with how it went when I go home and play 2K that night. But
Fucking 5 out of 5 on Yelp.
yeah, because I'm going home after this. If it's just head, then I'm gonna want to leave. But moving on. I was going to say Alvin. Even though I started with arguing for Alvin, I was going to say Alvin. And yeah.
To me, it's just so consistent. Like I feel like he's been getting it good for at least 10, 15 minutes. I mean, I think that it's a build up. It's kind of like a well orchestrated porno where like you don't really want to like you hit the middle and you're like, okay, climax is probably here, but you don't want to stop there. You want to see what the end looks like, and I think that's what Alvin is seeking. He's getting the best value out of his book. I think Simon is trying to get in and out, and I think it's points against him. I mean, I feel like you get in 2 minutes out. It depends on your preference, I suppose. But you get in 2 minutes later out. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel you on that one, man. And I think that does it, man. I mean, Theodore's out. Easy as that.
Yeah, I think so.
Um.
I do want to I do want to go back to a previous point that was made in favor of Simon. Now that we have it narrowed down to 2, and it seems that the 2 of you are leaning more towards Alvin at this point, and I'm not saying I'm not, but I do think we should go back to the fact that Simon is probably the only one getting that ass stimulation, and that is that's a big deal.
That is
I don't
a big
think we
deal.
can just slide by that.
We can't ignore it. I was never going to ignore it outright. But I don't know, man. I mean, now that looking at this field, I mean, it does become kind of it becomes kind of easy because you have pros and cons for both selections here. But when it comes down to it, you're really asking yourself, how genuine is Simon being? That is really the main question that we have here. Because Alvin, he keeps it 100, especially in this situation, all right? He's doing whatever feels natural to him.
You can't roll your eyes in the back of your head like that, in jest or, for a performance. That's real. I think that's 100%, You can't say that he's not feeling it.
I agree. You can't. To be fair, I am leaning somewhat towards Simon now. I was going to try to eliminate Alvin in the last round. But it's tough, man. It's a tough situation. You got anything
You were
to
gonna
say
try to-
about? You got anything to say about
You
that,
were gonna
Jabir?
try to, you were gonna try to eliminate Alvin or Simon last round.
Alvin. I was gonna try to eliminate him. If there was anyone
Wow.
voting for him, he wouldn't be here right now because
Wow.
my vote was against him. But Theodore's in the past. So, you got anything to say about that, Jabir?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that as far as that, just 2 points. The ad simulation. You gotta just give a round of applause to Jeanette. I mean, no matter who wins this, she is truly the best competitor. She's dealing with a fucking rookie. I mean, she's giving them the deluxe experience. I mean, you gotta appreciate that. And to the other point, I mean, I, Alvin. Alvin is the most animated usually in the show as well. I mean, he's the one fucking bouncing around, telling the owner to go eat a dick. I mean, he's usually the guy that's gonna keep the plot progressing. And I don't believe that is fake. I see this guy's personality. I see him on the big screen. He's doing his thing. He's fucking rocking out. It's Alvin and the Chipmunks. I mean, it just fits the personality and the plot that he will be the most animated.
You know, you
Right.
got a good point there. And I gotta say that him being animated is characteristic, but Simon showing this level of emotion is not characteristic.
It's
He
not
is being
normal.
It's not actually. Oh my God, you're right. It's not normal. That is completely uncharacteristic, is it not? Like, if anything,
And I
you'd see a lack of emotion no matter the quality of head.
I do want to add one more thing as far as Alvin's goes. I mentioned earlier the one hand in the action, but the when I look at the other hands, I'm not even sure that one's involved because to me it looks like that hand is, like you mentioned earlier with the hair getting in the way. It looks like that hand is oriented more towards her own face than towards, the where things are happening.
I could agree with that, and I think that's a very good point. But as you can see, Simon is overtaken by the moment because he isn't caring about that. He's caring about, like, just straight up finding somewhere to put his hands, I think,
Right.
which is not uncommon.
Right.
Hands are definitely a big part of this.
Yeah, and because of that, I get the vibe from Brittany. I'm guessing that this has been going on for quite some time now, and I think at this stage in it, she's kind of over it.
Yeah,
She's
I
got
mean,
one hand down, and the other
oh
hand,
yeah,
she might be wiping off sweat right now. She's been working so hard.
she's kind of drying up too.
She's what?
She's drying up. I mean, look at her in comparison to the other two.
Yeah.
She's not. She's visibly not into it at the same level.
Right.
As a
Right.
matter of fact, I could go so far as to say that let's analyze this situation, because that's not something that we've done so far. How did this happen?
Yeah. How did all three of them start receiving
Head at the same time. I know what it is, and let me tell you what it is. What it
What's
is,
that?
Alvin organized this as he organizes everything. And
Right.
I don't think that the two other people receiving head here had received head at least from these two individuals before. He pretty much gave them all the hookup, and the other two are simply enjoying the fact that this is occurring. But Brittany, she's begrudging about this. She's not very pleased about this whole situation occurring. you know?
Right.
She was roped
No, I see
into
that.
this, and while she obviously is to some extent into it, she's just not as into it as the other two partner groups, simply because, you know, there's just not the same level of excitement, and she didn't really willingly get into this situation, you know? She got into this situation because her boyfriend, you know, created the situation.
Right. Now, we are still saying, you know, these are all three consenting individuals. You know.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess I was suggesting that to some extent.
All right.
But yes, of course, this is a consensual situation when it all comes down to
All
it.
right.
I don't know why that
I
had
just
to
want that
come
to be
out.
clear.
Yes, why? I don't. Jeez, that man. Anyways, so that is actually something that you could use to properly diagnose why Alvin is emoting in the way that he is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because he's the host. He is the host. He is freaking acting the way that he is, the same way why I'm talking as loud and as, you know, expressively as I can. Because he's the host, I'm the host. It's just how it is, you know? He wants to blow this thing up and enhance the enjoyment of all other parties. Wants everyone to have a good time.
Because if he doesn't, who will? You know.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So your argument at this point, if I'm, or at least where you're going at, I guess mind state wise, is that more likely than not, Alvin might be putting on a little bit.
He's putting on not more than a little bit. I'd say that he's not putting on a lot, but he's somewhere in the middle. Like he is inflating his own level of satisfaction with the head that he's receiving by anywhere from 50 to 70%. Is what my estimation would be.
Wow.
That's big.
And think about what I said. Is there really anything that would say otherwise from my entire thing I just said? I think that's exactly how this happened. And now that we've gotten down to the bottom of the why, we already have the who, we have the what, and who cares about the when? So now we have to figure out, all we have to do is just put it together, man. And we have the answer.
And your story matches up perfectly with the fact that, you know, when you look down there, the secretion amounts. It's just Brittany is just not close to the level of juices that are coming out of, you know, both Eleanor and Jeanette.
That is a fact. That is a fact.
She is simply not, you know, on the same level that they are. She's not feeling it as much as they are.
Jesus. Moving on. Yes, I agree. I agree completely with that one, Britton. So, I think it's obvious, guys. Don't you think so?
I think at this point, it's clear.
Okay.
It's not where I wanted to be at, but it is the only answer, I suppose.
I mean, I think that we figured out an answer that we can be satisfied with, and when it comes down to it, that's what matters. So, there we go. 1 second. Drum roll, please. We have our answer. It's obvious. It was Simon. Simon was receiving the best head out of the 3 chipmunks, and it's obvious. It's obvious when you think of the facts, when you think about the situation. You could say what you want about Simon, his own habits, his own situation, whether or not that Key is blowing the situation out of proportion. But when it comes down to it, he's getting his ass ate. And not only is he getting his ass ate, he's getting his ass ate by somebody who wanted to eat his ass, who was sucking his dick, and who will suck his dick afterwards. Like, this motherfucker looks apparently about to bust just from getting his ass ate. That's an unheard of thing. That doesn't happen. But
that doesn't happen.
History is being made in this room, all right? And history was just made because we have the answer.
Wow. Are we the first to
We're the first to come to
figure
this
this out?
conclusion in this format. Because every other content that I've ever seen regarding this particular situation, it's just one man coming to the conclusion, you know? One person's opinion. Because if you
Right.
remember correctly, we came into this and we practically all had different opinions, but I think we've came to a consensus that we can all be proud of, and I think that we've broken down more evidence than anyone else possibly could have over this one image, this one small image that has so many tiny but significant details.
I think this is a landmark moment. This is a watershed moment.
I would agree.
I'm proud of it.
So with that, that's your answer, ladies and gentlemen. That's your answer. It is, without a doubt, Simon that was getting the best head out of anyone. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to you too. I appreciate your work.
It was an absolute pleasure being here, Hudson. Thanks for having me on.
All right.
I love it, honestly.